record, so anyone who is not tuning in can rewatch. I don't know if it's gonna bring value. I hope so. Gua nggak jago banget streaming. Just to start, this is my second time. Gua harus banyak latihan, but hopefully ntar gue makin cepet streaming dan tanya jawab, draw charts, kita bisa lebih cepet. Okay, let's just get through it. Wait, entire screen, go live. Okay, so ini gue bahas secara singkat aja. Ntar gue bakal share the notes. So before we go into CPI, gue mungkin bahas beberapa hal di 2023 dulu. This is like a mini guidebook on how you can survive and thrive in crypto or markets in 2023. Soalnya the conditions is very very different from 2022. Sekarang kita menurut gue sih udah masuk ke environment yang we have never seen before, at least not in the last 50 years. Jadi pertama kita ngomongin the Fed dulu deh. Kenapa US government penting? Soalnya market crypto dominated in US dollar. Semua orang lihatnya itu. Jadi apapun yang terjadi terhadap mata uang US dollar bakal ngefek ke harga kripto. Pertama, the Fed I think is still comfortable raising rates at 50 BPS. Orang-orang di market ya yang gue lihat, kita bisa ngeliat dari prediction consensus juga, market is pricing in 80% chance of 25% BPS hike in February. Jadi abis 50, masa langsung lu turunin lagi ke 25? Menurut gue itu sedikit optimistic. 20% chance of another 50 itu menurut gue bisa jadi yang bikin kita tuh jebol banget sih. But ini semua persepsi gue, ini benar-benar education entertainment. Please do your own research. Jangan ngikutin kata gue apa adanya. Tapi menurut gue sih, I don't know why people think pas kita udah mau pivot langsung putar baliknya tuh cepet banget gitu. Because Jerome Powell in the last speech juga ngomong dia comfortable with keeping rates high for a longer period of time. Jadi dia nggak takut gitu loh. Kenapa dia nggak takut? Coming to the next point, itu dia berani keep rate at a high rate karena belum ada yang pecah, belum ada yang break. Nothing is breaking yet, but I think personally, I think the labor market is the thing they are looking to the most. Jadi kalau misalnya sampai labor marketnya mulai goyang atau hancur, dan jadi kalau labor market hancur, tingkat kriminal naik dan sebagainya, itu definisi Amerika tuh lagi hancur lah. Tapi sekarang apa yang kita lihat, unemployment remains low. Jadi orang tuh walaupun banyak news yang pecat orang, ini tuh masih belum bisa dibilang recession karena labor marketnya masih sehat. Even hourly wage remains high. Jadi US is technically not yet in a recession. Okay, lanjut. I'm comfortable pricing in earlier rate cuts, not hikes, when a black swan event happens. Jadi either yang tadi gue ngomong, unemployment tiba-tiba naiknya gila banget, atau housing market menurut gue juga bisa hancur. Dan selama ini additional indicator, manufacturing PMI sama service PMI itu below 50%, it means it's US punya ekonomi itu lagi contracting, lagi mengecil gitu loh. Sama another reminder, global macroeconomics juga jangan dilupain. China is reopening, as the economy is reopening and people has started kayak keluar dan kerja. Inflation bakal tambah naik. Itu ntar kalau misalnya mau tanya jawab kita bisa do it another time. Kita juga mesti keep in mind Saudi, Russia, China trade, not BRICS but RCS itu yang paling penting. If this partnership goes well, mereka bakal mulai trade commodities dan sebagainya nggak dalam US dollar. Kalau misalkan mata uang kurang dipakai untuk denominasi untuk trading dan sebagainya antar negara, apalagi the power of US dollar tuh bakal jebol. Dan kalau misalkan US dollar turun, Bitcoin naik. Dan jangan lupa juga, ini gue lupa figure-nya berapa, but US juga lagi in big debt, more than 1.5 trillion US dollar in omnibus checks ya. Terus jangan lupa juga, kita tuh masih dalam situasi perang Russia Ukraine, and please keep in mind kalau misalkan Ukraine itu bakal counter, banyak yang spekulasi bakal counter offense di spring because winter was Russia's stronger climate. Kalau misalkan sampai ada counter attack yang gimana dan berhasil, potential impacts on oil and nuclear war itu benar-benar nggak bisa didiskon sih. Jadi kalau sampai nuclear war udah pasti awal-awal jebol dulu, tapi you know war sometimes is good for the economy, soalnya ya money printing goes but yeah. Okay, I have a lot more points, but I'll get through it in 15 minutes so we can draw charts for the sebelum CPI dapat mulai. The more important question, how bad can recession get? Jadi kalau misalnya kita ngomongin resesi, itu kita pakai perbandingannya apa? Kalau gue sendiri, gue perbandingannya tuh sama 2008. Soalnya ada mirip-miripnya gara-gara SBF and Madoff, kalau kalian udah nonton di Netflix. But the usual recession lasts 10 months. Standard deviation-nya itu 8 to 12 months. But di 2008 itu 18 bulan. In the case of 2008, S&P itu bottomnya 14 bulan setelah masuk resesi. Jadi 70%-an lah. Pas udah masuk baru ngelihat bottom. Itu just keep in mind. Past performance is not indicative of future performance juga. Jadi itu just to keep in mind kira-kira bottom tuh kapan. Kita jangan main tebak-tebakan di sini. Kita ngelihat price action aja menurut gua ya. And recession itu basically low inflation and negative growth. What do you do in the situation sebenarnya? You long cash and short risk asset. Risk asset kayak apa? Bitcoin sebenarnya risk asset. Makanya sebenarnya gue lebih pede kalau misalkan not every pump, but you have to find kalau misalkan bear market rally is the opportunity for you to go short. And usually my short positions are heavier than my longs because sometimes the swing can take us way down dibanding naik. Oke. Ini pertanyaan yang gue udah bosen juga jawabnya, but let's do it. Are we headed to more pain or is the crypto bottom in? I don't think so. Tapi let's do TA abis ini. Reminder, an inverse correlated charts yang gue bakal kasih lihat is DXY, dollar index. It measures how strong dollar is. USDT dominance. USDT dominance itu measure berapa banyak orang megang cash di exchange. It's not super direct, tapi itu supporting correlation gua. BTC dominance juga biasa. Kalau misalkan market jebol parah, kayak waktu itu SBF, BTC DD-nya biasa naik. Soalnya people flock to the safest asset in the most risk-on environment, which is crypto. Direct correlation untuk support biasa gue cuma pakai S&P, total juga cuma buat supporting. Jadi sebenarnya DXY and S&P is my bread and butter to support if I go long or short. Menurut gue, ini ntar gue bakal do the charts, tapi menurut gue DXY is still heading into nearby crucial levels at 101, 103 udah broken. Sekarang lagi consolidate di bawah level support yang gue lihat. S&P juga lagi masih downtrend, tapi they are reaching, seingat gue 4030 itu zone of resistance. Terus jangan lupa juga, ini kenapa gue sedikit bearish in crypto, end of Q1 ETH unlock, I think around 15 million ETH if I'm not mistaken. It's not impossible that we will revisit a 3-digit ETH. Orang sih pricing in paling parahnya 480, tapi I don't know. Again, kita mesti lihat. I don't like to gamble or guess. Kita ngeliat price action-nya pas udah deket. 3 easy things to monitor. Kalau misalnya kalian mau monitor sendiri macro environment gimana. Pertama, GDP. Kedua, CPI. Itu label inflation. Jadi GDP is the measure for growth. Kalau growth-nya naiknya udah mulai oke, then it means the economy is getting better. CPI, you measure inflation. The government is trying to get inflation under 5%. If we go above 5% and we go into recession, it's a bit catastrophic menurut gue. Monetary and fiscal policy, ya kalau misalkan ada stimulus checks dan sebagainya, itulah yang kita mesti lihat. Oke, prediction. People love this prediction. Jadi menurut gue pertama, ini by the way, ini menurut gue. I'm not an economist. I do have a minor in economy pas gue college, tapi other than that, gue belajar semua sendiri. 2% inflation target is bullshit. After 14 years of bull market, gue nggak bakal expect itu bisa to get solved within this year or the next. 2% unlikely lah. Soalnya, apa ya, it's just political number that Jerome Powell is going for. Terus, my comment is that people is pricing in faster drops in inflation and it continues dropping on a like downward slope yang lebih steep. Kalau misalkan gue sendiri, menurut gue dropnya tuh bakal begini, even there's a potential for a double top inflation. Jadi gue nggak expect naik ke 9,1 lagi. It's not impossible, tapi mungkin naik ke 8 atau ke 7-an baru turun lagi. Soalnya I think that would make the market benar-benar the maximum pain tuh di sana. Yang paling penting sebenarnya ini sih, ini prediksi gue. Kalau misalkan kalian perhatiin Amrik punya labor market, I forgot where I read this, gue juga nggak bakal claim as my own analysis, tapi Jerome Powell pernah ngomong, and someone summarized it, kalau misalkan labor market tuh hal paling penting yang mereka bakal lihat. Soalnya kalau misalkan labor market masih sehat, mereka bakal gebukin terus turun sampai tinggi banget. Nah, kalau misalkan labor market sekarang itu kondisinya gimana? Udah banyak yang unionization, I forgot what's the word in Indo, labor union lah pokoknya. Hourly wage goes up and unemployment rate may go up. Tapi kalau misalnya unemployment rate nggak go up, tapi hourly wage naik, jadi orang dibayar uang lebih mahal untuk mengerjakan tugas yang sama. That is bad. Soalnya people will get paid more and then inflation will not come down as people have more to spend. Okay, recession. How bad I think it will get. It's not WACME, it's just me. It's Mofaiman. Recession can go longer than 2008. Kenapa? 10 to 14k BTC price is purely TA, by the way. Menurut gua, the most pain that you all will feel is time-based capitulation. Lo orang bakal bosen, lo orang bakal ngeliat very long periods where price doesn't move, cuma 1% gitu. Kalian bakal bored. You guys might even go to forex and stuff. I already did. Cuman sekarang menurut gue sih, since I am well prepared to go through that pain, gue emang udah siap juga sih untuk not DCA ya, tapi gue siap nggak keluar dari crypto aja sih. Because I think time-based capitulation is something we never had. And the worst case scenario menurut gue kalau misalkan sampai kita udah mau halving, terus kita nggak bull run, gue lumayan yakin banyak orang cabut. Nah, tapi di situ, I think that's where the bottom will be in. Itu the worst case scenario. I am quite bearish, but I have my reasons. Jadi kenapa gue bearish? It might be worse than 2008. Because gue track recession itu pakai yield curve. On the yield curve, the longer the curve is inverted and the bigger the inversion. Jadi yield curve itu treasury yields, it's 2-year and 10-year yang gue mainly lihat. Sekarang itu di angka 4,2 the 2-year and the 10-year is at 3.5. Harusnya tuh yang yield yang lebih lama jatuhnya harusnya tuh lebih tinggi. Tapi it has been inverted dalam banget. Ini tuh lebih dalam daripada 2008 during the peak of recession. Jadi menurut gua, it's not impossible that the recession might be worse. That's my take on the situation. I don't know if that will happen, but I have confidence in my analysis. If someone have counter argument against that, please, I would like to know where I'm wrong as well. Ini cara ngitungnya, kalau misalnya kalian mau ngeliat dari TradingView bisa, kalian Google juga bisa. Just Google 2-year yield sama 10-year yield, lo lihat rate-nya berapa, 2 dikurang 10 sama dengan X. If X less than 0, it's inverted. Jadi angkanya sekarang minus 0,7. Kalau misalkan it's more than 0, it is not inverted. It's getting better. Oke, decision time. Ini kalian perlu nanya sendiri untuk prepare yourself. Kalian kalau mau coba time the bottom, mau spot buy itu di mana? Dan apakah kalian siap kalau misalnya ngelihat Bitcoin under 10K terus nggak beli? Atau mau nyoba nunggu confirmation that the bottom is in, but you will not get the bottom. Jadi itu strategi, I leave it to you guys. Some of you are more aggressive, as some is not as aggressive. Jadi kalian cocokin sendiri, ntar kita bisa diskusi juga abis CPI kalau misalkan kita ada waktu. Oke, let's do charts now. Let's start with DXY ya. DXY pertama gue mesti lihat kenapa, lihat tadi gue jelasin. But this is the line that I expected. Ini pas rally kesini gue pikir bear market rally over, ternyata damn. So, what do I see next? Menurut gue the next zone, the major support that we should get from DXY is this. Di angka 100 sampai 101 lah ibaratnya. Di sini I expect the market to pull something like this. Wait. Damn, gue gambar ini susah banget. Where's my paintbrush? Sorry guys. Where's my paintbrush ini di sini? Oh, it's on the text. Okay. Oh, rectangle. Okay. So I expect the market to bam, maybe consolidate below. If it comes back up, prepare to short everything and bam. Tapi nggak sampai atas itulah. But anyway, I'm sorry for my poor drawing. I'm not an art major. So, anyways, jokes aside. Tapi ya DXY, pay attention to this box. Kalau misalkan mau narik sedikit lebih agresif juga, this is also a good line. Jadi kalau misalkan dia lewat ini, consolidate di bawah terus reclaim 101.3, it's safe to say that dollar is gonna go up. Tapi kalau ya, jadi everyone in the world is looking at Bitcoin mostly in USD. Jadi kalau US dollar tambah kuat, otomatis any asset that is denominated in US dollars will grow weaker, and vice versa. If dollar starts going down, if dollar udah benar-benar nggak tembus cepet lagi, menurut gue itu that might be the bottom, to be honest. But for now, I am still leaning towards this is just a correction. Dollar might not go here. I think it's only going towards here, and this is where I'm going to bam short. But yeah, you cannot really play with DXY too much. Wait, selain itu, let's go to, kita udah mau CPI ya. Let's go to total juga. Oke, total, sorry, ini let me just clear it up. Biar gue gambar naked chart. Jadi pertama gue udah pasti ngeliat biasa weekly dulu. Tapi this week has been damn, it's slow. Okay. What do I see on a weekly? Menurut gue, ini sekarang dia tuh baru sweep liquidity dari the week of December, second week of December. Kalau misalkan dia close above this, it's quite bullish. Tapi it's gonna close in Monday 7 a.m. Masih a long time. This crypto market cap gue nggak begitu suka pakai. It's just a supporting. Kalau misalkan kayak gue lagi mau short, gue mau cari confirmation bias. I said it, confirmation bias. Gue bakal nyarinya dari sini. But this is also what I'm looking at. This is a poorly drawn line. Biasa kalau misalkan gue di sini, I recommend you guys use an alert so you don't have to watch charts every day. you're gonna become retarded kayak gue. But okay. Let's see. Ini on a daily. Habis kita map out big levels on higher time frame. See, di sini tuh gue kenapa gue pede short? It's here. This is the zone I wanna do my business. But you cannot short total. Let's just jump into the top two. Let's start with the king himself, King Bitcoin. Yearly open gue udah nggak usah mark lah ya, soalnya yearly open juga we have gone past it way too far. Menurut gue, this is one of the first level that we passed and it's very important. Ini prior bottom. Tapi besides that, what you should look at is the last rejection, which I think we should sweep. Ini juga biasa coincides with this. And then I should go to the daily. Double tap. Gila, fast drawing chart susah juga. This is the line I'm looking at for today. Menurut gue ya, market is way overextended. Gue tapi terlalu pede untuk nge-short. Jadi kadang-kadang gue kalau terlalu pede juga gue takut sama diri sendiri. I'm afraid of my own self-confidence. Lihat aja tuh. Ini susah dilihat. I will make it white. The RSI is at 76. Kita belum nyentuh level setinggi itu since not even here. Daily di 76 tuh terakhir tuh di sekitar sini. So I don't know if you guys are going long and you're confident in doing that. I would like to hear your argument. But yang gue suka lihat sih, kalau dari price action I wouldn't go long here. It's such a big resistance. Ada dua, ada satu yang tinggi, bukan tinggi, maksudnya higher time frame. This resistance is created in 15 of August. Jadi udah lumayan lama. And biasa to be a true resistance, it needs 3 tap, and this is tapping right now. That's why tadi gue udah mulai nge-short. I'm afraid CPI keluar in 9 minutes, we will get a rejection langsung, nggak even dikasih fake out ke atas. But the zone I'm looking to short is this. Jeleknya warnanya ini semua. Let me just do green. I really am looking for this zone. Gue taruh stop loss di mana? I'm pretty basic. I'll just do ATR biasa. Kira-kira tuh mereka bisa tembus berapa banyak setelah the line I draw. And kalau misalkan udah weeknya tembus ATR value, it means that my idea is invalidated. Sebenarnya ATR right now is around 350 lah, mendingan kelebihan daripada kekurangan. I personally would take the stop loss, not even ini 18.930 ditambah let's say 350, itu 19.280. I would go higher like 19.5, tapi I really want to keep this position. I really think this is not it, tapi nggak tahu ya. I want to see CPI, then I will get super aggressive. Gua bakal lebih pede lagi kalau misalnya nge-short. Let's go to lower time frame. I would like to see something like this. Jadi kalau misalnya gua nge-short sekarang, I'm jumping in front of a train. Sedikit bahaya sih. Damn it, the brush. Oh ini. Gua bilang sih ya, gua mendingan ngelihat and it consolidates here or even here. Di sini lebih enak, baru lu jebolin ke bawah. Tapi I would not like to see this gue ganti warna. Gue nggak mau banget lihat kalau misalkan, damn, kalau misalkan itu jebol gini naik, terus dia consolidated di atas. Itu I'm just gonna cut the position. Sekarang it's truly guessing. Jadi the red is bearish, the blue is bullish, the green is bullish. To make, I don't know, man. This, right? Sebenarnya actually this box ya, this box is better. This box is better. Ya, tapi ya, I don't know, man. Look at this. Kita nggak pernah lihat RSI itu setinggi ini. And if you go long here, would you really take that chance? Gue nggak. Oke, gue nggak recommend doing RSI as your only indicator. Soalnya it's just butter to your bread basically. Jadi lu kayak makan mentega doang nggak enak. Nggak bisa juga. It doesn't make sense. But yeah, menurut gue sih this is what's supposed to happen. In this zone, I'm going short. If it close one day above, ntar stop loss mekanismenya I'll do it after the stream deh. Tapi I'm not in a heavy position. I'm just building right now. Soalnya gue suka masuk short pas trend lagi naik. It's just never goes well. Especially if you do high leverage. Oh fuck, I have 5 minutes. Okay, let's do ETH. Let's go to the weekly. ETH jujur bullish juga gara-gara potatoes. I feel, but I don't know. ETH turned bullish way faster than Bitcoin. That's why kalau misalnya gue bilang long Bitcoin, just go ETH juga sekalian. And a friendly reminder, I'm gonna teach this in class later too. Kalau misalkan you draw a line, if you start at the wick, you follow the wick. Don't follow the body. Jadi jangan begini. Jadi follow-nya the wick too. So ini gue cuma mark the prior bottom of this market cycle as 881 according to Binance punya. This is the weekly view. This is what I'm looking at. If this close above this line on Monday kita bakal trade lebih agresif. This week is really defining. Sekarang I strongly recommend against taking very big positions. Soalnya let the dust settle and PA develop. Kalau Bitcoin tadi mereka masih fighting this line. ETH udah break out. Wait, let me just readjust the line because the lower time frame biasa lebih bagus. There you go. ETH udah tembus. Technically today, unless it close below 3090. If this goes, honestly, 1500 is the next level I would look at. This level. Ini next big resistance because satu psychological number, angka 100, 200, 300 itu big psychological number. Apalagi 1500 biasa kelipetan 5 lebih kan. And then after that, to be honest, kalau misalkan bear market rally ini masih have teeth untuk go far, I'm not even against it sweeping the previous high if it's gonna go crazy. So what I want to see right now is a rejection here. Kedua, rejection from here. Or ketiga, di sini harusnya juga ada. Wait, let me just draw. Gambar gue sih jelek banget. I usually don't draw, by the way. I would like to see rejection from all these levels. Tapi kalau misalkan ini tembus, I would go long. This is very good levels. Tapi kalau between this, okay lah ya harusnya. Tapi I really like taking big ini. Jadi contoh kalau misalnya gue ngambil trade long and 1500s, gue emang udah ngeliatin sih. You have to mark the midpoint, which is 1572 around here. Jadi biasa, I'm sure you guys juga udah pernah dengarnya di mana-mana. It goes to the mid range first, and then dari mid range if it continues back up and consolidates dia lanjut ke atas. But anyway, let me just clean this up. Mendingan kita perhatiin sebenarnya sih 1500 aja. Even the drawings I don't like predicting multiple moves ahead. Just see what's gonna happen next. But anyway, udah mau 8:30. Let's prepare for CPI ya. Gue matiin ini. Oh shit.